What's up, y'all? It's Tom and Jerry. I'm just kidding. It's Matt and Katie. I would probably be Tom because she'd be getting me. But what's up, y'all? We're going to talk about choosing your battles when it comes to your kids and food. And what I'm not going to do is talk about any of my pet peeves right out the gate. I have a couple. But really, this group is full of parents, right? And we have to make some decisions when it comes to our kids. We got to say yes to some things, and we need to say no to some things. And when it comes to food, I think sometimes there's a little bit of a gray area and maybe some confusion as to like, what do I say yes to and what do I say no to? Where do I choose my battles? And you know what I mean? And you know, where do I hold my ground? You know what I mean? And so we want to just cover that today. The goal of this video is for you to walk away either with some clarity that what you're doing is right, or with maybe some actionable steps as to what you can start doing in order to implement an atmosphere of health in your home. That's what we're trying to do here, create an atmosphere of good health in our homes. So, what's up, Katie?
Hi.
I have not had her on a video in so long, so
yeah, it's been a little bit.
Yeah, she's so pretty. I like seeing her on video. She's just as pretty in person too. But for us, I know that having our kids eat healthy was always a part of the game. I mean, steamed vegetables, like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we did like the homemade baby food and all
absolutely.
that for sure.
Yeah.
I think when we talk about, choosing our battles within food, we also have to just choose food to be the battle. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's kind of like our approach on parenting. Like, okay, pick your battles. Like, you always hear that.
Yeah.
But like, is food one of those battles
that you want to actually pick?
Exactly. And then almost those battles within that battle, obviously, of like when to allow indulgence and then when to make sure they're still getting that nutrient.
Yeah.
But making food one of the battles that you choose is really important for sure.
Yeah, I think that, being a fitness coach, one of the primary reasons I have heard as to when we ask people, like, where do you think some of these health habits came from? And we ask why and why and why, and we just try to get to the root of it. You'd be surprised how many times people eventually come to the point where they're like, you know what, it's my childhood. You know what I mean? It's just how I grew up. Like, I had great parents. Maybe you had great parents, but it's like, it wasn't that big of a deal in our house. Like, we just ate whatever, you know what I mean? Or maybe you grew up in the South and it was like,
what you were eating.
I don't know how to have butter without everything, you know what I mean? Like, and so childhood plays a huge role because our palate's being shaped, our reality is being shaped. Like, even our concept of discipline when it comes to food is being introduced. Or at least it should be introduced at an early age, because by the time you're older, you've already kind of made up your mind as to your relationship with food.
Don't like.
Yeah, absolutely. I know for me, food was, it was definitely a big part of our culture. My family's from Barbados. And so food was a big part of our culture. But I know for me, like, I was a chubby kid growing up because we did eat, we ate good. Straight up. But I remember like so many different family events to where I would eat my plate and then I would go back and get seconds. And it was always like oh wow, that boy can eat. Like, look at him, he'll get some more, man, go get you some more. You know what I mean? So I would have thirds. And so I learned to, overeat. And that wasn't anything that they were teaching me directly. It was just how they treated food kind of helped me to develop my own relationship with food. It just wasn't necessarily healthy.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. Do you feel like you had a good relationship with food as a kid?
Younger.
I've heard some stories.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm not judging, but I've heard some stories.
I had 2 older brothers, so I think when I was younger it was probably different, but when I was like a teenager, for sure. I mean, I danced. I was a dancer, so I was in the dance studio like 8 hours a day, and I feel like that was almost like the permission to eat like whatever, whenever, because it's like, oh, you'll burn it off at dance. So I ate crazy, like all the time. I tell him I would dip like everything in nacho cheese. But I mean, we did eat healthy though. My mom still cooked most of our meals, and it definitely wasn't balanced as I got older, but that was again just because like I felt like I could eat what I wanted.
Okay, so question, were you a picky eater or did you eat pretty much whatever?
No, I was not picky. I had my few things I would not eat. Like, I didn't eat fish back then, but for the most part I ate most things.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the same way. I pretty much would have eaten anything that was put in front of me. I
Yeah.
liked most foods.
I feel like that culture, like that parenting then was a little different.
Yeah.
To where like you ate what was given.
For sure.
My family always had this thing where like if you didn't want it, you could make yourself a PB&J
But you
like
get
at
an
dinner.
Oxford.
But no one dared like get up from like my mother's table
That's
to
her
go
and her
make
two brothers.
a PB&J sandwich. Like you ate that.
You ate what you were having. Yeah, that was the same thing for
Yeah.
us. It was like my mom made it, I was gonna eat it. And I
Yeah.
mean she had her menu, I think like most moms and
Yeah.
dads do. Like she kind of went around the cycle of okay, we're having baked ziti and then we're gonna have this and that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And some of those things were not necessarily the healthiest. Like my parents didn't have a huge perspective of like what healthy eating was.
Right.
They just knew like home cooked meals were healthy.
That's- yeah.
You know what I mean? They thought home cooked meals were healthy, so it was like yes, to a certain extent, but like allowing me to have like ranch with
Right.
with big ziti
Right.
is like, is that actually necessary? And I mean, we
It's
do
so
certain
good.
things with our kids, but yeah, it was. I had a season where I had ranch with everything.
Yeah.
But that was their perspective.
Yeah.
So now that we have more knowledge and understanding as parents, you know, I think that it's important for us to actually press into what is actually healthy. And I think for some
Yeah.
parents, they're trying to figure out what that is because there's so much information.
Yeah, it's so much more helpful if you know it for yourself, like just what healthy eating is and why we eat certain things, what these things do.
Yeah.
But like if you're learning it, inviting your kids on that learning journey.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love when we're able to like practically teach our kids about these things and they're learning health from like even nutrition's approach.
Yeah.
Just because we're telling them about it. You know,
Yeah.
this is a carb, this is a fat, this is protein, this is what they all do, and this is
Yeah.
how you want to balance them all out. Like, kids love learning that type of thing. So,
Right.
like, allowing them to know the why behind the, like, what we do.
And it helps to establish a sense of independence
Yeah.
within their own choices. I know like Zion and even Mariah will like, they will look for like protein sources when they're eating and
Yeah.
stuff like that and opt for this versus that. They have an understanding of what too much sugar can do. And I think the actionable step right here, right? This is one of the goals of this video. Actionable step is to get to understand food for yourself.
Yeah.
So that you can teach your kids and display that as well too, so you can implement what you learn in your daily life. Now, I will finally get to this point. I've gotten to this point. I feel like we've talked enough where I can share a bit of what I struggle with, and that is parents who struggle with picky kids. That is something that for some reason it makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up because
Especially when it's to, like, an extreme.
yeah, not like my kid
some
won't
kids
eat
are picky
mushrooms
about
and
certain
potatoes.
things.
Okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's so many other vegetables.
There's certain things that, like, okay, you
But-
can get it other ways.
But like when your kid won't eat anything but mac and cheese and like nuggets, you know what I mean? Or like doesn't like vegetables or like, you know, like a whole food group. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we need to deal with that. And I think that it's easy to take the road of I'm not going to choose that battle. Like I'm not going to fight with them over it. And you give up.
And I think too, oftentimes parents, like we want our kids to be happy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I feel like sometimes we're so focused on that we lose sight of almost like our responsibility
Yeah.
in certain things. Like our responsibility is not to have happy kids all the time.
Yeah.
Like our responsibility is to raise kids,
Yeah.
you
They're gonna
know,
be adults
to
one
be
day.
successful adults.
Yeah.
And to be successful, I mean, health is definitely, to me, part of that checklist.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So we want to raise them in a way that's setting them up for success in the future,
Mm-hmm.
not raising them in a way that makes them happy right now.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And I think we face that even as adults, right?
Yeah.
Like just making the decision now because it's convenient or
Yeah,
it's
quick
comfortable,
or-
it's quick,
yeah.
right? Like it's easy. We can do that, and
Or it's like, that's a fight I don't want to have.
that's how fun I don't want to have. But
you
like I
know?
said, I have many clients that they come from this place of that's how they treat their own health and nutrition. You know what I mean? Like I try to err. I have a whole lot going on, so I err on the side of convenience. I err on the side of what's easy, what's quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to our kids, we can look at it and say like, okay, well at least they're eating. But what are you eating,
Yeah.
right? Like food is not just food. Like you could eat Twinkies all day long, and then you could have balanced meals all day long. Who do you think is going to be in a better situation in 10 years? You know what I mean? And so I think it's important for us to pick our battles with that.
And I think too, especially as our kids develop, their palates are developing as well. I mean, their health as a whole is developing. Like, we're literally putting them on certain tracks moving forward, but their palates are even developing. So they might not like something now, but maybe we can find some creative ways to start introducing it in and getting it to them, to where ultimately, oh, hey, now we can add this back into like what they'll eat.
Yeah.
So that when they're 30, they're not like, no, I don't eat any vegetables.
Right,
I never
right.
had to. I can't stand the taste, the smell, the color, the texture. So by the time you're 30, you've already like developed this almost like subconscious feeling about this thing that now you have to rework as an adult.
It's just harder.
But if you can do it for your kids in a way, like I think of our kids, zucchini, right? They would not eat zucchini for a while, so we started literally shredding it into scrambled eggs
With some cheese.
and it was hidden enough with a little bit of salt,
Maybe
a
these
little
little,
bit
like,
of pepper.
pancake-shaped, like,
if you
hash
want
brown
ketchup,
things.
have the ketchup. And like now they'll eat raw zucchini like in
It
a
had
salad.
onions in it
They
even.
love it,
Like,
you know.
Yeah, they destroyed.
Finding creative ways like that just to get it, work it into small portions, and like kind of baby step your way into like.
Yeah.
Like
if you guys, if you do this for me, if you had a food that you used to dislike that you now like, put that in the comments.
Well, mine's fish. I hated fish.
She hated fish.
I
hated olives.
He did hate olives.
I wanted to
And
like
coffee.
olives. I did not like coffee. Didn't like cake. Right? Cake was all right, but olives, oh no. And coffee was disgusting. I like both of them now, but I find that it's just through reintroduction of that. I just kept reintroducing myself.
In different ways.
Yes, different ways. We had Greek olive bread. It would be in like, what was the other
Pizza.
thing? It would be on pizza. It would sneak it into tacos.
Yeah.
Like,
We-
and so many
Our
times I'm
family eats
picking
olives
stuff
with
out. I'm
everything.
like, nope, that's disgusting. Like, that's gross. Like olives are just, I would try it and be like, and then like spit it out. Now, like when they open the can, I'm waiting for somebody to not be looking. So I'm like
Yes.
thinking, taxes, you know, but it takes place over the course of time. You have to reintroduce something, and I think it's important for us to know that we cannot give up on implementing healthy habits within our kids, right?
Yeah.
We want healthy kids, not just, now this is a long-term thing like you've mentioned, and it does take picking. Maybe you don't try to have them eat a full like plate of like vegetables, right? Let's not be extreme with it, but treat them the way that you need to treat your own health habits.
Like next to something
that
that you want them to start eating or whatever. Like literally put it on the same plate.
Mix it in.
And tell them to eat the whole plate, whether you eat the veggie first and then the french fries, or the french fries and then the veggies.
Right.
Like start getting it in somehow.
So,
And I know when we were starting like with broccoli and veggies with our kids, it's like, okay, if you want ranch, have the ranch.
yeah.
Like eat the vegetables, and then you can start kind of pulling back on how much ranch or how you do make it.
For sure. Yeah. So where we always find this, like, there's this barrier is with people who feel like their kid is just immovable when it comes to what they will eat. And the reality is, guys, you're the parent. You are a grown man or woman.
Yeah.
You're the mom, you're the dad, right? And so just like you don't let them walk out into the street without your permission, just like you don't allow them to go into certain cabinets or do certain things without your permission, just like you have to say no to certain things, and just like you have to make them do stuff, clean their room, take a bath, whatever it is, you have to make your kids do certain things. And I think for some reason,
that's where the choosing, like the battle.
it's like
play.
for some reason the food is like, no, I just don't feel like that, because it's sad because I think a lot of the times when that's happening is because the parent doesn't feel like dealing with it, right?
Or like you're tired, the time of day, like especially like the dinner time struggle.
Oh man, you're just trying to close up shop.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, but it's for their benefit that you wait it out. Like that's a part of the sacrifice of being a parent. You know what I mean? Like wait it out, and
or like almost like a like we don't want to like reward or like bribe our kids per se, but we do want to habit change, and a lot of times for kids it does come into play with like reward systems and things like that.
Absolutely.
So it's like, no, you're not getting the screen time until you empty your plate, knowing that what you put on the plate is whatever you're picking this battle over, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, you can associate something that they don't like with something good, and that's like parenting 101 and habit change 101.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think oftentimes we like strive to like set our kids up for success in other areas of our lives or of their lives. Like we try to teach them about money, and we try to teach them about like just
relationships and sharing and
all this other thing. And I feel like sometimes the nutrition does just kind of fall off.
And the only reason that we're stressing this is because of the long-term effects of that, I guess, negligence, as you could say, when it comes to getting serious about implementing healthy habits, not allowing the juice all day long. Like you have to drink water. You get 1 or 2 juices per day, right? We're not drinking soda all the time. We're not just going to snack on chips because you're bored. Like it's okay to say no to your kids when they like literally they just ate a full meal an hour ago, and then like nothing's happening that day. So they're just like an hour later, they're like, I want a snack. And it's like, are you hungry or do you just have an appetite? Like,
and that's a big thing too. Like practical application, have a schedule of like we eat breakfast.
When do we eat?
We have snack, we have lunch, we have snack, we have dinner.
Especially for homeschooling parents.
Yes.
Because there's no like set
kitchen's
like
always there.
we get a lunch at 12:45. Like you have to have some sort of
schedule, have a
structure.
menu, have it all kind of planned. It helps them because they know what's coming and what to expect. We kind of invite our kids in on the like menu making and grocery shopping.
What do you guys want this week and stuff?
Yeah, so having a plan totally helps them.
And it gives you the ability actually to prepare your psyche and for them to be able to prepare like, okay, we want pizza this day, cool, well, we're also going to have salad with that, you know what I mean? Or, oh, okay, you want burgers that night? Okay, cool, well, we're also going to have some like mixed veggies with it or something, you know what I mean? Like, so they get to prepare their mind. Like, remember we said that this was going to be the menu, you know what I mean? And this is not just for your kids, like it is, this is basic for like, you know, if you join Team Fitness, like one of the first things we're gonna have you do is create a mealtime like window schedule to where it's like, when are the times that you're going to be eating? What are those windows of time where you have like you have to sit down and make yourself eat something good, you know, you can't go all day without eating. So
which I was gonna kind of segue into that, like in this, so often with parenting we want to lead by example. We have to have a grasp on this, or at least working on it for ourselves. Like we don't want to be hypocrites. We don't want to be one of the people, do what I say, not as I do, right? Lead by example. So like if you're eating, like eat what you're expecting them to eat, right? Like don't expect them to eat the veggies if you don't. Like eat it together. When they see that you're doing it, they'll be a little bit more open to it, especially if you're like, hey, we're going to get healthier together. So we're going to start eating some different things. We're going to try it, like whatever, like lead by example. Yeah, don't just demand or whatever your kids to do something that like you're not going to do yourself, because then we're hypocrites.
Right, absolutely. And I think, you know, a lot of the mentality that children develop about food and the relationship that kids develop with food stems from the mindset and relationship that the parent has with food, right? And fitness and all that stuff like that. Like if you're not getting up to discipline yourself and exercise, you know, 3 or 4 days throughout the week, then, you know, it might not be on your radar that your kid has been literally sitting down for hours doing zero with their body, right? You know, and maybe your kid's not like gaining weight rapidly at an alarming rate or any of that stuff, but you can be skinny and not necessarily be healthy. We know that, right? So it's important for children to move for mental clarity, for mental health, right? For physical well-being, for social health, like all of that comes from making healthy choices and being active in your life. And so it's important for the parent for us as parents to actually have that grasp, like you said, on health and nutrition and fitness and these things, this self-care, kind of mindset so that we can impart what we're learning and what we're growing from. And then you have the lessons and the resources and the understanding to be able to share with your children so that when they get older, yes, they're in the Lord. Yes, they know about money, and yes, they know how to treat other people, but they also know how to treat themselves. And I think that's
live a
one,
healthy way.
because we struggle with how to treat ourselves. We struggle with teaching our kids how to
And
treat
it is.
themselves. We
It's
teach them how to treat
passed
other
down
people, but not how to treat
generationally.
themselves.
Yeah, it's passed down generationally. So like if it's something that we've struggled with that we haven't necessarily handled, odds are our kids are more likely, not
struggle with
definitely
that,
going to, but more likely going to have
Yeah.
issues later on. Especially when we're talking about like nutrition and like healthy living and things
For
like
sure. And if there's like a generational curse, like, your parents were bigger and they're not in good health, and your
Kinda eat
grandparents
whatever.
are not, bigger and just not in good health and didn't take care of themselves. And you've kind of felt like you're kind of falling into that zone as well too. Like, don't pass, like, while you're alive on this planet right now, you can make the decision not to pass something on to your kids, right?
And like I said, or
so
do
that
it
they have
together.
I don't want to leave any generational
Yeah.
crap for my kids to have to break. I would rather deal with that stuff through me. Like, we will fight for our kids in every other aspect, but it's harder when when fighting for your kids requires you to deal with your own issues.
Or
right?
like I said, to give up like the happiness of your kids for a little bit,
Right.
Like, but the Doritos make them happy, or
In the immediate
know,
sense, but in the
yeah.
long-term sense, they're so glad, right? We
Yeah.
know how discipline works.
and I know like our kids are younger, but like as an encouragement for like if you have older kids, like it's not too late to start that process, and especially with the older kids, invite them in on the journey and do it together. They'll appreciate it. It would be such bonding and just everything like that. It's not too late to start these things. So
And
don't
find
think
reasons.
like my kid's a teenager already, I can't reshape their palate. Like start, and maybe like I said, they reshape theirs by like watching you reshape yours as well. So
I'm 32 years old. I was still able to
Yeah.
reshape my palate when it came to olives,
yeah,
right?
So,
Like, it's not too late. It's
do
just,
it together, make it fun.
yeah. And find reasons when it comes to your kid, find reasons that they appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not everybody learns the same, and what's important to you may not really be important to them yet.
Yeah.
So figure out what is important to them. Like, do they want to be fast? Do they want to be strong? Do they want to be like you when they grow up? Like, and then you really have some leverage there. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Or they might just enjoy cooking. Have you like
Yeah,
allowed
let them
them into
cook.
the kitchen, like let them into
Yeah, let
that
them
space,
create.
and then let them go and pick these healthy items that are going to go into the recipe, and now they have ownership of like, I picked this food, I made this food, now I'm going to eat this food. So just really allowing them to see the full process and to come alongside you with it for sure.
for sure.
But it's not too late.
It's not too late. Make this a choice.
Yes.
That's like our
It's a
end.
battle
Like,
worth fighting.
yeah, that's our conclusion right there. Is it is a battle worth choosing? It's something
Like
worth
let
fighting
them
for.
mismatch to school and don't choose that battle.
Right.
And
Choose the health thing though.
choose to make them have to eat
Yeah,
healthy. Okay.
like-
Let them
Mismatching socks doesn't end in medical bills.
Yes.
Like having poor health habits does.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that
pick
just
your battles. Which ones? Food should be one for sure.
food, yes, food, and we know the other ones as
Yeah,
well
like-
too, like
yeah.
language,
Yeah.
how you think, right? All of that.
Going to church is a battle.
Going to,
obviously, that you
their
choose
faith, what they
when they're
believe
young.
in,
Yes.
right? What they're learning and
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
home from all of that. But yes, food needs to be a part of this, guys. Health habits need to be a part of it. And the more diminished it is, the bigger a problem it becomes. You know what I mean? Like health is one of those things where if you focus on it, it's not really a big deal for you.
Yeah.
But when you don't focus on it, it makes itself a big deal for you. So either way, you're
Yeah.
going to deal with your health.
Or now that if you
That's-
think of
that's
like the
reality.
maintenance of something, it's easier to maintain like a lawn when you're cutting it every couple of weeks. But if you
Exactly.
leave it alone for a month in the springtime, by the time you're ready to cut that grass, it's going to be a lot harder. So maintain it.
You're in the jungle, boy.
Maintain it, you
Sorry.
know, as you go. Don't let it go too long.
Yes.
He made me lose my train of thought.
I did. I was like, oh, shoot.
Maintain it.
I got carried away.
Stop.
Cut your grass. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Hey, if you found value in this, please, obviously, cite value in the comments. Let us know that you enjoyed this. Invite somebody to the group. You've got some friendly parents they're trying to raise their kids. Maybe they're trying to get in better shape themselves, and they want to create an atmosphere of good health in their home. This is the place to be. Forever Fat Loss for Christian Parents. Love you guys. Keep the faith and choose that battle. It's worth fighting.
Yes.
Peace out, y'all.
Bye.